Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Synonyms. Maitreya Vacha. Maitreya said, Iti, thus, Adhavre, in the arena of sacrifice. Daksham, to Daksha. Anudya, speaking. Shatruhan, O annihilator of enemies. Shatao, on the ground. Uddicham, facing north. Nishasada, sat down. Shantavak, in silence. Sprishtva, after touching. Jalam, water. Pitadukla samvrita, dressed in yellow garments. Nimilya, closing. Drik, the vision. Yoga patham, the mystic yoga process. Samavishat, became absorbed. Translation. Maitreya the sage told Vidur, O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. Purport. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit her body given by Daksha. Daksha was Sati's father, so instead of killing Daksha, she decided that it would be better to destroy the part of his body which was hers. Thus, she decided to give up the body of Daksha by yogic process. Sati was the wife of Lord Shiva, who is also known as Yogeshwara, the best among all yogis, because he knows all the mystic processes of yoga. So it appeared that Sati also knew them. Either she learned yoga from her husband, or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such a great king as Daksha. The perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material nature elements according to one's desire. Yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. Generally, the yogi first of all becomes mature in controlling the air passing within the body, thus bringing the soul to the top of the brain. Then, when the body bursts into flame, the yogi can go anywhere he likes. This yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from the so-called yoga process for controlling the cells of the body, which has been discovered in the modern age. The real yoga process accepts the transmigration of the soul from one planet to another or one body to another, and it appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body or sphere. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brinda Vaneshwari Krishna Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, this entire chapter, what we're talking about previously, is the effects of blaspheming a Vaishnav Ninda, and also how one should react when encounters Vaishnav blasphemy. So, Mother Sati, through her example, is teaching all of us how one should act when he hears Vaishnav Ninda. Now, Prabhupada, in his teachings, in many places, his lectures, letters, uh, in the writings, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, stresses on this point a lot that Vaishnav Ninda is a very, very serious offense. And if one hears a blasphemy without reacting, it contaminates the heart just by listening. It's not that you have done Ninda. If you have done the blasphemy, it's very severe. It's spiritual death, basically. But even just hearing it can have severe consequences on one's spiritual progress if one doesn't react in the appropriate manner to that. So, what one should do in today's time, place, circumstances, there are a couple of methods how one would be able to um, react in a proper manner. One is just walk away from that place. Walk away from that place. There are sometimes circumstances where you may not be able to walk away from that place. So, for example, there was this one uh, Mataji, we won't take names, and her habit, the nature, is to always find faults with everything, whatever it be, fault with the processee, fault with a person, everything, always finding faults. And when she would serve the deities, now think about it, you're on the altar serving the deities, and all the time finding faults. Oh, this is like this is, and this person is like this, he doesn't do this properly, whatever it comes in. And now you also are doing your deity service, and whilst doing the deity service, one's consciousness should be fully focused on the deity, and I'm getting an opportunity to actually be um, giving a bath to Mahaprabhu. I'm dressing the Panchatattva, whatever, through the whole process that one goes through. And on here, you're constantly hearing the blasphemy of devotees. Now, there's also an etiquette that in front of the deities, you don't raise your voice, you don't chastise somebody. There are certain etiquettes one needs to follow. So, what do you do in such a situation? You can't even leave your service halfway. So, in such a situation, try to close mentally, close your ears, start thinking about something else, and it becomes background noise. Or there's in the kitchen, they turn the volume up if it's in the kitchen of the lecture or the kirtan which is going on. But the principle is that one should not indulge in listening to the blasphemy of a Vaishnava. Hare Krishna. So in Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya himself, Mahaprabhu declares, if one hears an offender of a Vaishnava and does not leave the place, he loses all spiritual strength. So every day we are doing practices, a sadhana. Every day it is a struggle. There is one side, our conditioning is pulling us to get into sense gratification, and on the other side, our discipline is putting us making us stay on the right path. So it is a struggle, correct? But whatever it is, the more we are saying no, more we are saying no to the material indulgement, more is our spiritual progress. But just whatever progress we've made over a period of time, listening to the blasphemy of a Vaishnava, and one doesn't counteract it, whatever we have done again gets reset to zero. Now, it's very important to understand here that Mother Sati's reaction wasn't emotional. Sometimes people out of anger can kill. People out of anger can kill themselves, harm themselves in anger. They lose all sense of reasoning. Emotionally also, people indulge in acts on an emotional basis also. I'll share with you a situation to explain this point, how in anger and emotional, people even can kill themselves. And I know this happened to somebody. There was a young guy, maybe in Mumbai, my home city, several years ago. There was this young person. He was maybe about uh, mid 20s, young, very young. Uh, he had gone for a party and he came back drunk, fully drunk, late night, 1, 2 in the morning. And he rings the doorbell. The mother opens it and she sees him in such a state. And she starts chastising him that no shame you have, whatever. Parents are concerned. So this person was in such a state of mind. And he says that if you don't stop yelling at me, I will jump out of the window. And they were on a higher floor. So the mother, in her anger, she says, don't threaten me. If you want to jump, jump. And this person, in his drunken state, this young man, went running to the window and jumped out and died, jumped to his death. So think about this whole situation, how it plays out. Now, out of anger, now the mother in anger said it because she was upset. The child is completely out of his senses. He's intoxicated. But what a waste of life. And the mother went nuts. She just lost her mind after that. So it was two lives. But here in this case, Mother Sati is not doing anything in emotion. She wasn't emotionally um or sentimental that, oh, I've been insulted, and my husband has been insulted, therefore it's my insult, reflected insult. No, she did what was the right thing to do. Okay, it is the response of a spiritually alert person. Now one may say that, oh, it is kind of extreme to uh, uh, do suicide. And in fact, suicide is a grave sin. If one takes one's own life, there are severe repercussions on that. It appears to be a suicide, but actually, Mother Sati did the right thing according to whatever is the dharma, how to handle blasphemy of a devotee. And such people, they're not ordinary like you and I. They're highly elevated, both in terms of consciousness and also through the process of yoga. They are able, they are, you, we all have an expiry date. We don't know when, how, where, but everyone has that expiry date, and there is no choice. There's nothing we can do about it. However, There are people through the mystic yoga processes can actually decide when they want to leave the body. Now, we leave a body, most of us, you know, there is based on a karma, our soul goes into another body. That is typically what happens. Of course, those who are devotees, those who are spiritual consciousness, who are elevated based on what they have been doing in this life, they are afforded a better condition. Maybe need not go back into a material body. It is possible to go back to Godhead even out of the circle of birth and death. But the point is that a spiritually advanced person, a mystic yogi, can leave his or her body when they wish. Like Bhisham Pitama, he was pierced all over his body, hundreds of arrows lying on a bed of arrows. But I mean, with one arrow, somebody could be killed. But till such time, it was his decision when he wants to leave his body. So, like this, Mother Sati was gave up her body, and then her consciousness, her spirit soul, went to a higher plane. Now, why did she give up her body? It was the appropriate response. She couldn't kill her father, but the body which is given by the father, it's part of the father. For such an obnoxious person, I have nothing to do. And that's why she gave up her body. Hare Krishna. So, so what does this Mother Sati's um, giving up her body? What are the lessons that we can get from that? One is the sanctity of devotional relationships. Anything which is devotion, dear devotees, is the highest. We have so many responsibilities, especially as grastis, so many. You have familial responsibilities, you have responsibilities to the society, you have responsibilities to the nation, so many, so many, so many relationships that we have. And each one there is a responsibility. A gentleman or a decent person, human being, will try to the best of his ability to fulfill all the responsibilities that he has. He at least has that intent to do so. But there are times when the devotional service and a material responsibility, it may clash. Then, in such a situation, always the devotional relationship or the devotional aspect should always take precedence. Why? The reason it takes precedence is because it is topmost. Whatever we are doing is always to please Krishna. Krishna is the topmost. Everything else is subservient to Krishna. When we are doing our devotion, our material responsibilities, it is to someone who is subservient. It is to please that person, a fallible person like us. So always, whenever there is a situation when there is a uh, tussle between a material obligation and a devotional obligation, that devotional always should take precedence. To give you an example, practical example, that a sadhaka doesn't has four regulative principle, doesn't eat meat, doesn't indulge in alcohol. Now, at weddings, typically, it is an occasion of celebration. People are in a joyous mood. Sadly, people need alcohol to be in a good mood, to what they call enjoy. Enjoy means gratify the senses. So there's a lot of alcohol. There's a lot of uh, non-vegetarian. I mean, most of the world is non-vegetarian. All this is there. Now you have a familial obligation. Suppose your nephew or somebody, friend, friend's daughter, whatever, is getting married. You have an obligation to attend. Now you're attending this function, and all around you, this is going on. Correct? People are in a good mood, they're singing, they're dancing, and the alcohol which is flowing. And then people with whom you have a deep relationship, maybe your cousins or your friends, childhood friends, whatever, they'll come and they'll force you. Arey, don't be a bore. Come on, have this, have this. God. Then they'll start getting philosophical. God doesn't say, do this, do that. God won't be upset with you if you indulge in alcohol or this. So you could still, at such a situation, when the temptation comes, correct, there would be the pressure from all over it's coming. But we need to keep with our intelligence that I understand there is this which is happening, but there is this higher path which I'm taking on. And it's it is possible to be in that midst but not get affected by it. So, the point, dear devotees, is that the choices that we make, we should always, one is always err on the side of caution. And next is always choose. Remember that the devotional aspect will always supersede everything else. Then the other is a dignity of a devotee. We tend to take devotees casually because they say familiarity breeds contempt. And in our mind, we make classifications: senior Vaishnav, junior Vaishnav, just joined. All these things are going on. So there are different pigeonholes that we make, even in a Vaishnav Sangha. And then we are putting people in these different pigeonholes. And accordingly, we are treating them. We don't value somebody. We don't have much value, so to say, of who that person is. A Vaishnav is a very, very special person, not ordinary. But in our mind, we have the lens of who's a Vaishnav, who's not a Vaishnav. And because we are fallible, we will treat even an exalted Vaishnav because of familiarity very casually, very casually. So, what has happened in such a situation, especially in a Vaishnav Sangha, we always need to be very cognizant of the fact that each and every person in the Vaishnav Sangha is precious to Krishna. Of course, Krishna, everybody is precious to Krishna. It's only a matter of time before everyone reconnects back to Krishna. But those who are already connected, correct? They are very, very special people. And we cannot treat them, we should not treat them ordinarily. So, therefore, that dignity of the Vaishnava, when we can understand and appreciate who a Vaishnava is, then even when there are so-called faults, if there are whatever is there, um, we should be able to reconcile with that. Now, it doesn't mean, in a practical speaking, that anything and everything goes, but there is a certain method, there is a certain way of how to address, when things are not going according to how it is supposed to go. It just doesn't mean that we give an outburst or we start criticizing like this. So, yes, if it's to an authority, you escalate it to an authority, tell what the situation is. Don't, even the offender, don't criticize him or try to put him or her down. Understand the my Guru Nath Radhanath Swami, my Gurudev Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that, you know, hate the sin, not the sinner. We tend to, okay, someone has done a transgression, yes, but the person is whom we um, criticize, start hating, etc. So that is not something that one should, a sadhaka should indulge in. Hare Krishna. So the practical application, to recap, dear devotees, be very careful to what we listen. What we listen to affects consciousness. And when there is ninda, it's that mad elephant syndrome. Um, they say the Bhakti Lata Bij, it's like a tender creeper. And the tender creeper is wrapping itself around the Vaishnav association. right? A sadhana is watering it. And imagine there is this tender creeper growing so beautifully, and a mad elephant enters into that garden. What does he do? He just tramples over everything. So that's what we should be very careful of what we listen to and whom we associate with. We should always give preference to spiritual over material. Easier said than done, difficult, but it is doable. Hare Krishna. And yeah, so this is what we can learn from Mother Sati, how it should be. Of course, we are not at that position where we can, it bothered us so much and we gave up our life. No. Oh, one pastime comes to my mind. Um, there is a Mataji Prabhupada's disciple. I forget her name. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think Ladini Mataji, somebody. And she was developing a congregation in Africa. And at that time, it was very troubled. There was a lot of ethnic cleansing, between different tribes. They were brutally killing each other. So the village where she was in, there was a Hare Krishna temple there. So this group of attackers came in and they said all the men, devotees, they said on one side that we will kill all the men, but women and children we will spare. Now, this Mataji is a woman, just a single woman. And she pounced on them like a tiger. She says, "You dare do this." And whoever was the leader, he shocked. He's saying, "What is your problem? We are letting you go." She said, "No." And she gave up her life trying to protect any abuse to the Vaishnav. So this is how we should take seriously who a Vaishnav is and how even listening to Vaishnav Ninda, we cannot do these examples, but what is within our control is at least not hear or indulge in any gossip. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is 1 or 2 minutes. If anyone has a comment, please share it. Otherwise, over to you, Madhupati Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Amrita Prabhu. I just had a comment on the practical application. Not of what you mentioned. It's wonderful what you suggested. But just when we go through the scriptural readings of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chaitamrita, um, now what Mother Sati did, um, give no, she decided to give up her life. Uh, she herself is a Kshatriya, right? Right now, there's no Kshatriya, right? So, disclaimer: don't ever think of giving up your life. As it's no, we read somewhere that in Kshatriya you can do that. As Brahmanas, you can just shut off your ears and go out, right? And Vaishyas and Shudras also, no, I think that distinction was made, and we'll post that in Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. So just follow that. And remember, we have a pastime of Chota Haridas in Chaitanya Chaitamrita that mentally, when he went, when he came in contact with some person from the opposite gender, he felt some agitation mentally, and ultimately he gave up his life. And after that, Srila Prabhupada kind of had mentioned to his disciples not to follow in similar vein, because no, yes, over a period of time things have gone down further. No, we'll have much more agitation. Even seeing a billboard will have agitation. So no, we should be more uh, careful, and at the same time, not go to that extreme step or something. There's always chance of more and more reformation, and wait for those chance of reformation. Is that good, Amit Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day. We would like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Ram Hare
Rama
Ram
Rama,
Ram
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Hare Hare,
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
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 Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama Hare
Rama,
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare
Shri Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Praladesha, Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam, Ugravira
Rudraviram Mahavishnu
Mahavishnu,
Jalantam Sarutomukam
Narsingam
Sneham
Bhishtanam,
Vishnam Bhadram Mrityum Mami
Nrsinga Bhagwan ki
Ki
Jai,
Jai
Prahlad Maharaj ki
Ki Jai
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the Samal Vaishnavas.
Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhasya
Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu
Kripasindhubhayavacha
Bhavecha Patitanam
Patitanam Pavanebhayo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah
वैष्णविंद की जय
Jai
ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की
Ki Jai
प्रभुपाद की
Ki
जय
Jai
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
Hari
हरि
Hari Hari
बोल.
Bol. Thank you everybody. Hari
Also
Bol. Hare
tomorrow is
Krishna.
Ekadasi, preempting it. Tomorrow is Ekadasi, Apara Ekadasi, minimally fasting from grains and beans and increasing our Krishna consciousness. Is there a kirtan?
Yes, Prabhuji.
There will be kirtan in the evening from 7 to 9 p.m. at the temple, Ekadasi Kirtan, tomorrow. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.